Hello guys, we are back with Shenanigans and more, and this is your host Psycho Alex, and we're in my car. Hey! So I have my dear friend Jay here again. Isn't she lovely? So we're gonna have a little discussion, like I mentioned on my last episode, about well, I feel like the title is kind of unfair because not all of us are necessarily trying to conceive, but I wanted to say like a modern problem and issues that modern women are having, and when we're trying to conceive or just simply trying to stay on a hormonal balanced lifestyle that is becoming a very regular problem and very common with most of our young women, especially on the conceiving age, how do you say, like span of years that we're trying to either conceive or not conceive, but just trying to have a regular hormonal balanced lifestyle. So my dear friend and I have actually shared a diagnosis that is called PCOS, and we're going to be discussing a little bit about that and her personal experience with it and her symptoms. And we'll hear more about others. I will be adding another section where others will be discussing it as well, and their symptoms and their stories and their journeys as to how they're a little bit more balanced. And now that we have enough information, we're dealing with it and stuff. So because actually there hasn't been enough information in a long time, but we'll get more to that as we go along. Okay, so my dear friend, take it away.
Hi, my name is Jay. I'm 31 years old, and I've been battling with this since I was 10 years old. They first diagnosed me as extremely anemic for a long time, honestly. I didn't really get diagnosed until I was like an adult. But yeah, they always kept me on these big fat iron pills. I always took it. When I was younger, I did have an irregular period, but as I gotten older, I have a period every month. It doesn't miss.
Success.
Yeah. But I do cramp really, really bad. Like, and that's always been since I was a kid. Like, it'll be to the point where I would like pass out. So I do have sometimes I say it wrong.
It's a complicated name.
It's a complicated name that causes pain in the uterus and stuff like that. A lot of women do deal with that as well, but that is definitely a symptom of PCOS. So many different levels of it. Like everybody's level is different. With my case, it made my weight go up and down, mostly up. High blood pressure, which is common in black people, but the fact that I had that diagnosis as well, it kind of complicated things a little bit more.
Yeah.
It did make it harder to lose weight until I started figuring out little things that helped me. And I also very hairy as well. Like I grow hair in places that some women don't want, like on my back, on my face, sometimes on my chest and on my stomach. But it's not as crazy. But yeah, but I mean, as you get older, you learn different things to like control it. So as I got older,
accept it,
because it's at this point, it's like you either gonna love me or you're not. And I've never had any problems dating. Only one guy asked me, and he was like, "Oh, okay," and then that was the last.
It was just curious.
He was like, "You have hair on your face?" I said, "I sure do," and he was like, "Oh, okay," and then that was that. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like, for a long time I used to be like, oh my god, nobody's never gonna win me, but honestly, they really don't really notice until if they're up on you. Yeah. And then it's like, even then they don't care because they know when you go out. Yeah. No, so it's whatever. So, as I gotten older, I started reading a lot about Dr. Sabi. I follow him a lot, and he had the Alkaline diet. Don't get me wrong, I tried, but I need my protein, so I mostly follow a Pescaterian diet, which has helped me a lot to lose weight. I was like almost 300 pounds. Like I'm down to like 215 now. But I was smaller before, but then the pandemic hit and I gained 30 pounds. So I actually lost half of the 30 pounds that I originally lost. I was originally just down. I was like 195 or whatever, but that was probably like, I think the smallest I've been was 185, and it was actually a nice size. Like I wore a size 10, 12, which is like, I haven't been that size since I was like in junior high. Right. So I usually wear like, that first I was like an 18, 20, but now I'm like, even though I gained the weight, I'm still like a size 12. My goal is to be a size 8. But though being on the diet has helped a lot. My energy, like I used to be really tired all the time. my hunger pains was weird. Like, I always crave like salty. To this day, I crave a lot of salty stuff. It's so weird. I'm not really a big sweets person. Like, you can ask anybody. Like, people like, what do you want for your birthday? Don't give me no cake. Like, you know, but people will buy me a cake and I'll be like, well, you guys are gonna be the ones eating it, because, you know, unless it's chocolate, then I'll eat it. But yeah, so like, it was just like little things that I just noticed myself, that the doctor kept diagnosing me with other stuff, which it wasn't. So once I figured it out, I pretty much diagnosed myself.
Right.
Then I told the doctors, and it was like, oh, that actually
Makes
could
sense.
be it.
Did you have, sorry to interrupt you, but did you have, like, what we all do when we, like, diagnose ourselves with Google or WebMD, but did you ever go through, like, your symptoms like that, especially when you would get a wrong diagnosis and you would go and, like, find out and you're like, that's not what it is?
Yeah, like, you know,
that?
and I kept getting the iron pills and stuff. I just felt like nothing was helping, like with my weight and stuff. Like, it was to the point where I would wake up and my feet would be like hurting so bad. Like, it was just a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense, that they're giving me stuff and it wasn't doing anything, you know. But then when I took matters into my own hands, I felt like I started reversing my symptoms.
The symptoms.
So like changing my diet, getting a lot more B12, a lot more omega 3s, a lot of stuff that they don't tell you that you really need, that basically that your body is just lacking.
Right.
So once you start to like increase those things and make it a habit of increasing and having it in your body, things start to go your way, you know. Like I had suffered from cystic acne and stuff like that.
It's one of the symptoms.
Now I don't, all I have is like scars now, because it's like I said, you have to figure out what your body, the doctor can't really tell you what to do with your body. They just kind of push you towards something, but it's like, really, sometimes it's like, it's not the answer. You have to go and take matters into your own hands. Like, I drink a gallon of water a day. I follow a pescatarian diet. I don't eat a lot of bread and stuff anymore, which is something that triggers those symptoms. Like, it loves gluten, it loves yeast, it loves all kind of stuff, and most of the time when you have PCOS, you might have an overload of yeast in your body. So to avoid that and feeding it, you want to follow an alkaline diet. Even if it's not fully alkaline, like I said, I'm not a fully alkaline diet person, but when you follow it, it does help the pH balance in the body. So.
I do have a question for you. Growing up, did you have, like all of us, you know, especially in our generation, that whole like addiction to hot Cheetos or like chips in general?
Mine was top ramen noodles, which is the worst thing you can. I still eat it. Like, I cheat. Like, that's how I know I'm about to start my period. I kid you not.
Yes,
like,
that's
I'll
when
be
we're
like,
oh,
I want some noodles and hot Cheetos, and it's like, I don't eat it. And that crazy, after that, I don't think about it
ever again.
But when I'm about to, I crave it. Do I go get it all the time? No, because it's like, I know that I'm gonna have acid reflux after, and just getting older, it's like certain things. It's like, oh no, because if I have heartburn, I'm gonna be mad. I have an attitude all day. So. I don't like having heartburn. So, but yeah, no, that's what I said. I craved a lot of salty stuff when I was younger.
But I don't feel like that specifically could have cost me, because I didn't do it so constantly. You know what I mean? Because when I did my research, I felt like I found a lot of stuff that they were like, well, this stuff causes this, well, this causes it, and this causes it, and it's like, I think generally in food is what causes it.
I mean, we live in America, so like
everything is processed.
and that's why it's like, when they say, oh, no, like, we were born with it because our parents was eating it, and then it was in us, and then we were born with it, and then that's what happened. It's not something that it just came along later on in life. Like, no, this is something that you're born with. This in your genes. Like, sometimes you have to go and sit back and talk to your parents, like, okay, what's wrong, not what's wrong with you, but
what happened.
Yeah, so it's like, when I talked to my mom when she was younger, she dealt with terrible periods and passing out, and you know, so it's like, when you start talking, it was like, well, dang, that's crazy, because now it's a genetic thing. My little sister, she has a form of it. She has her hairy arms, but she don't have it like me, but she has like hairy arms, a little hair on her back, where her periods are terrible. Like, they knock her out. Like, she passes out every time. So it's just like, it's just something that we carry. It's just like people like, diabetes run in my family, or sleepwalking runs in my family, like stuff like that. It's genetic, so it's like it's not your fault. Like it's just something that happened. Like you were born, it was bound to happen. Either it was going to take control, like it was going to be dominating your life, or it wasn't going to be dominating your life. In some cases it's dominant. A lot of women have it, don't still to this day don't know that they have it.
Exactly.
So
that's kind of why we're doing this, by the way. So if you guys have any like symptoms like heavy periods, like she was saying, a lot of the exhaustion, like you don't understand, it's part of also that it causes your body's insulin resistance to have like issues and stuff, and that's kind of leads to diabetes. We're so prone to, like you said, blood pressure, diabetes, and all these other things, that obesity, without even having knowledge that that's why you can't lose weight. Like you know, and it's so much. I'll talk more about the weight stuff on my personal side, but I'm so happy for your journey about your weight loss, because it ends up being about food and like what you intake and stuff, and it's so hard to understand it when you're already big and they're just tell you just have to lose weight, and you're like,
and it's like, how? I've been doing everything. Like I've been working out. Like it was a point in my life I was working out every day. I was doing the keto and I was not losing weight. Did I feel better? Yes, but I was still fat. Like what, doctor, I don't, what do you, I've done it. What am I supposed to do? Then that's when I started doing research, found Dr. Sabi. It was like, okay, these foods trigger this. Like there's even some vegetables and fruit that we not supposed to eat.
Right.
Like if the fruit don't have seeds in it, they say it's not good for you. You're supposed to eat fruit that have actual seeds. And a lot, like I said, we live in America, a lot of our fruit has been transmuted to something that is not what it is. Like in certain countries, bananas have seeds in it.
Right.
Our bananas don't have seeds in it. Right. So it's just like a lot of stuff, like we have to look, we might have to pay a little bit more, but if your health is your number one priority, then you'll go for it. Like for me, I wanted to feel like a woman, so that was my goal, to figure it out. And once I started doing it, the weight just started falling. It was like melting off. Like, and I was like, oh, I figured it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that happened to me in 2016. So when I was roommating, I was working, and it was just like, it was to the point where I didn't even notice I was losing weight until my clothes was falling off of me. And my friends was like, what's wrong with you? You sick? I said, no, I'm not sick. Because they never seen me that small. Right. So that's when I realized I was like a size 12. And I was like, whoa, I haven't been this size since junior high. No lie. And even then, I used to think my body was banging, because I was already developed in junior high and high school, so I went in body banging, but I had other problems that nobody else knew. But it was just like, but then in high school, like once, I'll say maybe like 11th grade, my weight just skyrocketed out of nowhere. Like, and I was playing sports and stuff and everything, and it was just like, what the heck? Like I was doing the same thing I was doing every day, but then I guess once I hit like 16, like everything just went haywire. And then from 16 to like,
did you ever have a regular period before that?
Before, no, it was irregular. Sometimes I would go 2 months, sometimes I would go 4 months without a period. And then once I hit 16, like I said, like I started getting it. It was starting to come regularly on its own. And then once I started having sex, then it was every month. Like something just changed. Like, so I don't know what happened.
See, to me, I had the opposite effect. I got my first period when I was 11, and up until I was sexually active after 17, it was like my mom thought I was pregnant. Like, we had to go to the clinic because my mom was sure that I was pregnant now, and it was like 2-3 months without a period, and we finally go to the clinic, and like I got my period that day. But after that, it was just like irregular after irregular period. Like,
I have somebody that's going through that right now. They just kind of found out, like, they're like, oh, I haven't had a period, and God, I'm like, what? You need to go get checked out. That's not normal, like, you know.
Honestly, I'm really against like seeing a lot of stuff on social media that like people are like promoting. Not that people, well, yeah, some celebrities, but like that they're promoting like the birth pill and the birth control pill and saying that, oh, you don't need to have your period. I'm sorry, but I'm telling you, it's part of being a woman, and you need to have your period. You need to bleed. It's part of your body's function, and it's something that it needs to do. And being on the pill and not having to bleed is like, I mean, sure, when you're having sex and you think like you have nothing to worry about and you don't have to worry about staining or buying pads and stuff, it's all heaven. But your body is functioning. Your body needs to do that discharge, and otherwise your body's containing all that, and it's bad for you. So I really hate the social media posts about that stuff and like the pills.
I don't really care for any of that stuff, honestly. Like I said, I'm more so pro me. Like, yeah, the doctors are there, but I don't really care for doctors. I'm just being honest. Like, especially for a minority, they don't really care too much for us, so they'll diagnose us with anything. And they'll give us anything. And so that's why I took matters into my own hands. And a lot of people these days are doing that. They're doing holistic things. So it's just like, I'm down for the holistic teachings and all of that and following a holistic life. I feel better now than I did when I was kept going to and taking those fat iron pills. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still taking iron pills, but not the ones they gave me. Like, it's just a lot of stuff that I found that works for me.
A lot of natural that's part of like doing too, of like diagnosing, having to us diagnose ourselves and like having to figure out the solution in a way that works best for us, because like we have the same condition, we can say, but at the end of the day, what she's doing might not work for me, and what I'm doing might not work for her. But I mentioned to her that I was also, they would always test me for my iron. And I was on the upside where I didn't have, I was an anemic, but because my mother would make me eat beets. So that's like iron's replacement. And that, and like having to eat lentils, and I hate lentils. But if you don't, you can have lentils if you have anemia and your iron deficiency. And so that, or find natural iron pills like Jay has, or stuff that, you know, that work with you and that won't cause you. And one of the things that I'm always talking about is pay attention to your body. Your body speaks to you. Just like your car will tell you a check engine light and something is wrong, your body does that to you. And the more you listen to your body and the more that you check what you ate, what you did, that's going to help you figure out what works for you. Because like I said, her routine might not work for me, my routine might not work for her. It's just pay attention to stuff like that. You know? Yeah.
That's, period.
There.
Period. Yeah, no, for real. But yeah, like I said, like, that's what worked for me. I've been feeling better ever since. I'm more comfortable in my skin. I'm really into me. Like, if you met me a long time ago, you would be like, she is the most insecure person ever. Now I'm gonna be like, bitch, what? Like, that's just, I know I'm cute now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for a long time, I didn't think I was cute, but then it was just like, I'm really a sexy bitch.
Yes.
So,
otherwise, check her Instagram if you don't believe it.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, but like, that just came within a few years ago. Like I said, like, it's a lot of stuff that, you know, after being fed shit that wasn't really accurate with you, and this is based off studies, and it's like, oh well, this study says, and it's like, well, I'm that 1% that
it's not
didn't work for.
Yeah, you
know. So, but yeah, like, I promote people to like figure out a routine for themselves, and once you find it, you'll never look back. Like, yes, you'll have some slip up days. Like, it's some days I'll be like, I'm about to go get me a bag of hot Cheetos and some noodles, and that's just gonna be me.
With cheese.
Oh my god, and I'm lactose. So if I want cheese, I am extra cheese.
You know you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, my stomach be like, I'm like, oh, what was that? It was a monster.
It's speaking to me.
Like, oh wow, Godzilla's in there. But yeah, but no, I live a healthier life. And weed has helped. I forgot. I can't believe I mentioned that. I didn't mention that. Weed helps even if you don't smoke it. Like, if you do like CBD. The CBD or the drops, it okay, I've been in the industry for a long time when it comes to marijuana, okay, and I have had, since I've been in the industry, I've had a lot of people who are diagnosed with stuff, and I've helped them take certain things, and it helped them like with cancer, diabetes, and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know that CBD or just cannabinoids that are in cannabis helps with insulin levels, helps fight cancers and stuff like that, helps with hunger. Like if you are suffering from like not eating, I know that's another symptom. Some people like me, for a long time, when I wake up in the morning, I didn't feel hungry at all. Like even till this day, like it's hard for me, but if I smoke, I will eat. And so I feel like smoking definitely helps with metabolism. So if not telling you to smoke weed, like I said, you can take they're called Rick Simpson drops. Rick Simpson is this oil that a lot of cancer patients use, a lot of people that are diabetic that actually have serious conditions. When you take Rick Simpson oil, it helps with the blood flow, like I said, metabolism, insulin levels, stuff like that. So yeah, when I first started my journey, I was working at a dispensary, I was smoking every day, and I started this routine, and I was able to eat, and I was able to go to sleep. I was suffering from insomnia. I still suffer from insomnia. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like now it's starting to come. So marijuana has helped a lot.
That's one of the things too that sometimes while I was going through figuring out like what was causing me to gain weight, and like in recent times before I started doing edibles for sleeping and doing meditation, it was so difficult to go to sleep, and that's also one of the reasons why you gain weight, because you're not getting your full time of sleeping, and that's your body needs to rest.
But even if you are asleep and you were stressed before, stress sleep help make you gain weight too. Yeah. So it's just a lot of meditation and relaxing your mind, praying. You have to get in tune with yourself, even if you're not a spiritual or person or whatever. Just being in tune with yourself is important. You probably have to follow your first mind. Like if your mind says this, you need to go with it. Don't second guess it.
Or listen to doctors who don't know your body.
Yeah, if your body's telling doctors don't know. Yeah, I'm not dissing doctors or nobody in the medical field. I grew up in a medical house. And you see how I went the complete opposite way. So it's just you have to listen to your body. Yeah, you have to listen to your body, and your body will definitely tell you what it is. For me, my energy levels, and it's okay, what can I do? B12, I'm lacking B12. A lot of that when you have PCOS, you lack a lot of B vitamins.
Yes,
a lot of B vitamins. So it's good to get a B12 vitamin or a B complex vitamin that has different B vitamins in it. Biotin will actually help.
I started taking prenatal. Yeah, I was I don't care, because there was so
prenatal
full.
Or primrose, which is kind of so it's just there's certain things that you can definitely do. You don't have to take all the chemical pills that the doctor is giving you, or shooting in your blood and shooting in your uterus and whatever they're doing. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that you can go around it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be blunt, I have suffered from vaginal dryness, which is another symptom. It's just a lot of stuff. But then, like I said, when you start switching up stuff, you start noticing that I will wake up and be "Ooh, I'm horny today." It was just but at first it was I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do it. And now it's just taking different stuff. Dr. Sabi has these pills that I take. They're called estro, and they're all natural ingredients in it, like sea moss, I think burdock, blue valerian. It's just and then when I started taking those, I started feeling a lot better too. My cramps weren't as severe when my period would come. Not saying that they went away, they're still there, they're just not as severe. But it helped with the lubricant of my vagina. It helped with a lot of stuff, and I didn't know, and I'm dang, it's just herbs that can actually help. So that's what I'm saying, it's a lot of stuff, natural stuff that actually help with with your symptoms and stuff. Me, at first I started losing my hair, because that's another thing. And then once I started taking all of my vitamins, and then when I went natural, I know y'all can't tell under here, but I have a lot of hair. I've always had a lot of hair, but it was one point in my life where my hair started coming out a lot, and I'm not used to having thin hair. So that was just number one, because I'm known for my hair. So once that started happening, it was No. Y'all, you can't take my hair. You already got me fat and got acne. Now you can't take my hair. Like, so that's why I was like, okay.
That's a woman's thing. Yeah, like it's your power.
Yeah, like that's my crown. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, okay, no. Now I gotta fix everything. Like, So yeah, but yeah, it's just a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. If you feel fatigued, look up things that'll help you with energy, because technically we're not supposed to have caffeine.
Yes.
But we drink it. But don't take a lot. Don't have a lot of caffeine. Like it does mess with our stomachs.
Yeah.
But if you find a natural way of getting caffeine, like green tea or matcha, like stuff like that, then B12, stuff like that, then okay. But if you can't get it, you need to do a little fix. Yeah, get coffee, but don't. It's not something, like I always tell people, coffee is not something you should drink every day when you have something like what we have. Regular people can do that, when they're intermediate fasting. They'd be like, oh, drink a black coffee with nothing in it, and drink water and drink tea. And it's like stuff we can't do that when we intermediate fast. So like if you do it, then I would suggest like, drinking a lot of lemon water, ACV, apple cider vinegar, drop a shot of it in your gallon of water, sip on that every day, because ACV actually helps curb the appetite.
Those detox waters are amazing too.
With the lemons, the cucumber, mint. So that's why I said I'm a big advocate of water. I drink water all day, and then I pee all day too.
And you can feel the difference when you start to hydrate in your skin and your body.
Drinking a gallon of water has definitely helped with my skin, definitely helped with my weight loss, because it helps push your food down, helps with the metabolism and stuff. So I do encourage a lot. Drink your water. Do you ever have the desire to have children? And is that like a thing that? No, I am a auntie person.
Forever.
And it's crazy because everybody want me to have kids, and I'm like, I don't know why.
I feel like that, and with our culture, it's also like our parents or families always kind of pushing that.
Like, when you gonna have a baby? And I'm like, who told you
I wanted to have a kid?
Yeah, like the only person that understood me, and I think he knew before I knew, was my dad. Like, growing up, he used to always say, Jazz ain't having no kids. And I used to be like, why he say that? And then as I got older, I'm like, I am not having no kids. And I think he just knew, my dad was the first one to call it. And then, but it's just like, yeah. And then people be like, well, what if you date a man who? I'm like, he better come with kids already, because I'm not pushing them out. And no, I'm sorry. I don't have nothing against kids. I'm one of those people that, some people be like, I just want to live my life. You can drop them off. And as long as you come and pick them up when you say you're gonna pick them up. I don't think I have the patience. I took care of friends' kids while they were at work, and it's just like, now that I'm older, no,
I'm okay.
And people be like, you gonna change your mind when you find somebody. I'm gonna let him know, hey, no babies up here. You want to travel? We can travel.
Yes,
but no, no, I never had the desire, but the fact that knowing that I can have kids is a good thing.
It's a different,
because you feel like a woman, you know what I'm saying? And there's some people who suffer from our condition who can't have kids, but I always say, like I said, I always feel like there's always a way to reverse things. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people whose doctors told them, oh, you can't have kids, and then all of a sudden they're pregnant.
Boom, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's ways. You know what I'm saying?
So we go back to the taking care of yourself, listening to your body, you go through the process,
balancing the hormones and stuff like that.
Hormones, yeah.
Like, I feel like ever since I've been changing the things that I do, I am less of having an anxiety attack. And the crazy part is, in our community, they don't really tell us about anxiety and depression. They be like, suck that shit up. Ain't no, I was going to talk about depression. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, hearing that growing up, it's like, well, what am I depressed about? I'm sad, but I don't know why I'm sad. Yeah. And it's just like, I feel like, in minority groups, they don't really talk about therapy and stuff like that. It's like, no, it's like, no, that ain't what we do. We don't talk to people about our personal problems. Like, we settled it at home, or you settle it by yourself. And I feel like that took a toll on a lot of us growing up, and relationships and stuff like that, because you know, like to this day, I'm still trying to figure out what I really want in a relationship, how I want to go about it. And it's just, that's based off how I grew up. Now I know that now, but it was like, you know, I feel like
going through it,
it's like, I wish I would have known, like, oh, you suffer from anxiety and depression. Like, I used to be like wondering why, like, I will all of a sudden, like, I'll think about something. It could be something small, like, I forgot to pay a bill. I'm just not saying that's what happens, but I'm just giving an example. Like, I forgot to pay a bill and I freaked the fuck out. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And it's like, why are you freaking out like that? Like, it would be burst. And then it was just like,
it could be solved.
Yeah, like, and then you think about it later, like, what the hell was that? Why was you even crying like that? And it was just, it's anxiety. Like, I never knew what it was. I used to just be like, I'm just crying for no reason. I'm just sad. And it's just like, no, you have an anxiety attack because you're not talking about your problems. Yeah. You're holding it in, and stress triggers more stress in the body, and then that throws stuff off. So
also, like, when you're not having your period too, like, you still get all the symptoms. Your back still hurts, you still get cramps, you still get emotional, you still get hormonal, and sometimes you just get angry for no reason.
And that's
you get upset for no reason. You cry over anything, and you're just like, you crash a lot with people, especially when your partners don't understand. That's why I'm always talking about, this is important for you guys to also share with your partner, for your partners to know, because your partners don't understand, and it could just be something like that, you know, something that's like, why you look at me that way, or you didn't pick up my call, and you're like, well, I was in the bathroom or whatever, right? But to you, it's like, you're never there for me, you do all this stuff because you're already going through so much that it just reacts.
You just blow up. So that's why I was saying, like, I still don't technically know, and I'm being honest. Like, a lot of people are not honest with themselves. They just be like, oh, I just want a relationship, and it's like, well, what do you want from it? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you need to understand, like I said, understand yourself, be in tune with yourself, get to know yourself. A lot of people don't know how to be by themselves, and that's another thing. And I feel like that's something else that growing up is just like having separation anxiety from your parents. We grew up in a generation, and the crazy part is, it's like, it's not really that well, I'm not saying for everybody, but in our generation, I felt like it wasn't really abandonment. It was more so that our parents in our generation, they were still trying to figure it out.
Right.
And they were working and making sure that we had what we needed. And so it was like, when we
That's why I'm glad I didn't have kids, like,
Yeah.
when I was trying to have kids. Because I was trying to have kids like at 19. And I feel like if that would have happened, I would have totally fucked my kids up.
Yeah. Because you're still a kid.
Yeah, and now I have it figured out. Like, not figured out, obviously, but now I'm in a different position, in a different place in my life where, like, I know that I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And, like, I could be ready maybe in a year or two, or, like, you know, like you said, I'm figuring it out still, trying to make sure that this is what I want. Like, you know, for a fact that you don't, and I'm still like, if I don't, I'll be okay. If I do, I think my kids will do okay.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I would adopt. Like, there's so many kids.
Yes, that's one of the things I
would adopt. There's so many kids out here that don't have parents, or you know, just parents that they do have parents, but they just are incapable of taking care of them. Yes. So, like, I would definitely do that. But go ahead.
Any specific advice that you want to tell anybody who might be going through stuff that they haven't figured out yet? I mean, besides us telling them to look at their bodies and stuff.
Oh yeah, just being in tune with yourself. Like, I wasn't in tune with myself until about 2 years ago, when I'm living at home. I'm living by myself, nobody to talk to.
You got to figure it out.
And that's when you have to get in tune with yourself and whoever you worship.
And then 2020 happened.
Yeah, and then 2020 happened. So, and I feel like 2020 was an eye-opener for a lot of people, because that made people be by themselves.
Yes.
And for people that, like me, that was already by themselves, it was like, that's just extra time that I ain't got to go outside, because you're always constantly doubting yourself, or you're always constantly saying negative things about yourself. Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, I'm fat. Oh, I'm this. Your body listens to that, and it'll take it in, and it'll be like, oh, maybe you are stupid. Then your way of thinking starts to change. You can't figure stuff out when you're actually a really intelligent person. Or when I'm ugly. Your body puts that out there, and even though you nothing has changed physically, but you put that out there into the universe, and then
that's the reaction you get.
Right, and then you're like, well, why I never attract nobody? Well, you said you was ugly, so they're not looking at you, even though you could be the most beautiful person in the world. And I always say that most beautiful smiles hide the most saddest stories, or just the most saddest. So it's like, you have to learn to know yourself, love yourself. You have to, even like when I'm mad, I'll be like, okay, don't say that. You're smart. You're beautiful. Apologize to yourself. Like, if you expect someone to apologize to you for calling you a bitch or stupid ass or whatever, you have to say that the same thing for yourself. Apologize to yourself. Yeah. You have to have a relationship with yourself. Like, that's where I'm at right now.
You gotta be your best friend.
You gotta be your best. I hype myself. I be in getting dressed and stuff. I'm like, damn, bitch, you cute. Where are we going? Nowhere.
You looking good.
Right. Where you going? To work. Put a mask on so nobody can see me. So, but yeah, no. Date yourself. Know yourself. Even if you don't have PCOS, you can be suffering from depression, just because a lot of people just suffer from depression. It's a mental thing. Right. We cause it to ourselves. If we don't know the knowledge of it, what's going on, we continue to feed it, and until you figure it out, it's just that entity is just gonna keep feeding off of your negative energy, and this is gonna keep bringing you down and down, down and down and down. And depression is a serious thing. We don't talk about it enough, but I don't play that shit. Like, if someone say they're depressed, you need to talk to them. Don't make them feel like, oh no, young girl, you
suck it up, get over it.
No, talk to your friends, talk to your family members, your mom, your dad. Sometimes your parents can still be depressed, like, or you know, just saying, just still talk to them, because you never know. It's so much stuff, like when people commit suicide, they're like, well, we would have never known. He just seemed so happy. He seemed happy.
And don't think that you're a burden to anyone. If anybody really loves you and cares for you, especially your friends,
they're gonna talk to you. They want you to be happy. So it's just like, and that's why I grew up with a group of friends that I'm no longer friends with, and I always felt that I couldn't talk to them. But now that I'm older and I have a new group of friends, we're similar, and it's like, when you surround yourself with people that want better for you and you guys work on it together, that's a lot different than being with a group of people that you're trying to always impress and keep up with, and it's just like, this ain't even me. And it was just like, it's making me feel worse, you know what I'm saying? But when you surround yourself with like-minded people,
and same thing with a partner. If you find a partner if you look in a partner that you can go hand to hand and walk your road and do your thing, but hand to hand, like, know that if like you need uplifting words, that they'll be there and stuff, then that's kind of the way to go. Not also compete with them, not them feel like you're emasculated because you make more money than them, because you look better than them, because your job, whatever it is.
I go to the bar, watch the game, and then my man is at home cooking. I was playing.
It's okay. It's 2021. We can switch roles.
Roles are reversed, and we've been fighting for equality for so long. I mean,
why not?
Why not? You know what I'm saying? I would love to date a man that cook. Hey,
shout out to any man that cook.
Holla. And I'm learning to communicate. Like, I would hope. Yeah, like, I would be mad, and I would I'll tell them, this is why I'm mad, and they act like they don't understand, and I would go quiet. And I realized that was a terrible thing to do, because nothing ever got...
Or just like, I don't want to talk.
Yeah, nothing ever got solved. And then I would just walk around being quiet and ignoring them. And then it's just like, what the fuck? Like, that's why I said my next relationship, I want to be able to communicate. I want to be able to understand. Not go to bed angry at each other. Pray for each other. Or whatever you guys do. Meditate with each other. Exercise with each other. Whatever you guys feel like will help... build your relationship, but just be open with each other. My next relationship, I'm gonna be open about my symptoms and stuff like that. Like, if they ask, I'm gonna explain to them, this is what it is, and I am very much still a woman at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And just like, I would never make them feel away because if they're short, or they are fat, or or they're not buff, or they're skinny. I've dated them all, skinny,
or
fat,
they're working on themselves.
Like, I kudos to people that's working on themselves. And so we never want to go into a relationship with a whole bunch of baggage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Talk about the things that make you feel comfortable.
Boundaries are okay.
Boundaries are okay. It's okay to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And I've learned that too.
Well, thank you guys so much. We have this was Jay's story, and well, it was the testimony thing, and we'll hear more about everybody else, and stay tuned. Bye. Hi guys, so I'm back, and this is for my section and my part of what PCOS is for me, and has my entire journey and my little testimony about it, about what I went through and how I had to figure out what I have now, which is still in very much progress. So let's say my journey began, I guess, when I got my first period, which was when I was 11. I had I intentionally remember, like, not intentionally, distinctly remember, I think, that I had like most of my regular periods in some sort at the beginning, when they were a little short, or when they weren't like coming in every month. Like, we figured it was normal, like it was a part of like your body getting used to a little girl's body turning into a young lady's body. And so the me possibly missing a period wasn't a big deal until I became sexually active, like I mentioned on the conversation with Jay, where it was more distinctive as soon as I became sexually active, that like I mentioned, my parents thought that I was my mom thought I was pregnant, and my boyfriend was freaking out thinking I was pregnant, and it was just really crazy going through that, and at like 17 years old, and like thinking, shit, like I fucked my life up, like now what am I gonna do? And then coming to terms with like having all these hormonal issues, and like going through it, and like finally being able to, I mean, being young and going into a gynecologist's office is like, a gynecologist's office is like scary. It's terrifying, especially when you're like first becoming sexually active. You have no idea like what to expect. What are they gonna ask? They ask so many awkward questions and all these things. But one of the things that just stayed with me the most, that Jay didn't necessarily cover, was that, at least personally to me, it was so difficult to like understand that it wasn't my fault. Like, I was being blamed by the doctors all the time, being told that I had to lose weight, that I was just obese, and that it was just a matter of me losing weight. And then other people started telling me that, people who I was like confiding in, thinking that they would give me advice because they were older than me, and like friends who were like more experienced than me and could have possibly had gone through stuff like this, that I reached out to thinking that they could help me, and that didn't happen. Like I mentioned, my doctor was always trying to push the pill, the birth control pill, and like telling me that that was the only way that I could help my period, you know, regulate and stuff like that. And I didn't feel like I had to be on the pill, even if I was like sexually active, because we were using condoms, even if that is not 100% accurate. I didn't want to like put in this drug or this pill that was like, when I did try it, and I did do it, I think I took it like religiously for like a year, I wasn't seeing results. Like, it was only making my body upset. It was only causing me migraines. It was making me gain weight. It was hurting all these other aspects of my body that I was like trying to figure out what was going on. And I'm not entirely 100% sure that it was the pill, because like I said, now I know that I recognize my body a lot more. Like, I can tell you that it could have possibly also had been already the beginning stages of my body changing, and the insulin resistance, or any of the other symptoms that come with PCOS. But that's what I had to blame. Like, the pill, being pushed by the doctors all the time, and me being told all the time that it was my fault because I was overweight, and that all I had to do was to lose it. When I was like, I can distinctly tell you that I was very active. I was always walking around. I had to take 2 buses to get to school, to high school. And so, like, all of my high school years and, like, ever since that specific 17 and on, like, happened, like, I was going to college and taking, like, the buses and walking around a lot and stuff. So I was always really active and never, like, all I could feel was that I was gaining weight and gaining weight and gaining weight. Like, didn't matter if I ate right or if I didn't. Like, it was just like, I kept telling my mother, I'm just gaining weight by breathing. Like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. Like, and I was already having insomnia problems and not being able to just have a regular sleeping schedule. Eventually, I had to quit school. So it took me to a depression phase. And I also blame that. I also blame that I didn't know how to figure out, like, what was happening with my body. I did try to speak to my mom and to see, like, if she had any idea or any tips, but she was just lost as confused as I was, because even though she went through similar things while she was growing up, it was kind of like, it was not as intense as, like, what I was going through. And so we had no answers, and every time we would go to the doctor and the answer would be to the doctor, all I would get is, well, you're overweight and you need to lose weight, and you're overweight and you need to lose weight, and stuff. And so it took over 10 years for me to officially be diagnosed with PCOS. And every time that I went online and I did research and I did, like, trying to diagnose myself and find the symptoms that I was having, and I would take notes into what was going on, I'd find more and more forums where, like, other women were discussing about it, and most of them were talking about getting pregnant and having babies. And so after having to drop out of school, my boyfriend at the time was he was demanding for us to have a child. And so the pressure on him was on it by his mother, and the pressure on me was on by him, and a little bit of, like, family and other people on my side who were kind of, like, expecting that to be my next thing, since I wasn't going to school anymore. So cultural stuff, right? But it was so bad. It got really intense that for, like, 2 years I was just really home and depressed and in bed, and I couldn't get out as much as I would plan and as much as I would want to, decide and set up and like set an agenda, a calendar, goals, and all these things. Like, I just couldn't get out of the house, and I couldn't get myself to go and do these things, to get out of bed and, like, cook and clean and do all this stuff. And I would, like, clean my room, and I would stay in my room, and I would just be stuck in my room forever. And I would cause a lot of fights between my family members and between, like, my boyfriend at the time. And eventually I did have what I think could possibly have been miscarriages. Now that I think about it, now that I have more experiences to, like, my body and its reaction, and I feel like I had really, really heavy periods. So I would go months without having a period, and I mean, like, 3, and I mean, like, 6, 8 months even sometimes without a period. And it would just, like, make my stomach, like, grow, and I would feel so bloated all the time. I'd feel like I looked pregnant, but, like, I wasn't, and I was, like, overweight and all this stuff. At 19, 20, I joined a soccer team. I was running, I was doing practice, and I was, like, playing games, and I was playing games like a full-time game. And I'm a big girl, and I've always been a big girl, but, like, having that capacity to do the full-time games and just training and all that stuff, and, like, I was so confused as to how come I wasn't losing any weight. Like, I wasn't seeing any reaction to my activities and to me changing my diet. I've bought and taken so many natural things that, like, I've been recommended. I'm Mexican, in case I haven't said that already enough, but they already do like have the people who do the massages on your tummy and your womb, and like they're like, oh, for sure, like this is a really good lady, for sure you're gonna get pregnant after this, and like nothing, like everything just kept like being bad. I distinctly remember having a lot of pain on my left side, where my ovaries are, where my ovary is, and it was one time I actually like accidentally hit myself while I was doing laundry, and it hurt so bad, and that I was like in bed for a couple of days, and then I started to bleed a lot, and it was like really bad, where I was like terrified thinking that I was having a miscarriage, of like it was a hemorrhage, you know, it was just so bad. And I don't know why, but it took forever for us to finally go to the hospital. And then when I mean forever, I mean I think I was like at least 3 weeks at home bleeding, until eventually I went to the hospital. And I went to the hospital and I was finally seen, and then they did some testings, and they like gave me some meds and stuff. Don't even remember what they were. And then here we go again. They were like, once the bleeding stopped, they were like pushing and pushing and pushing for me to get on birth control again. And I was like, you don't understand, like I'm trying to have a baby, like, but you know, I was so young that didn't understand, and that they just kept saying like, well, you're young, you know, you don't need to have a baby now, and so we could just prescribe you these, and this will help you, and this is going to help you, this is the solution to everything. Now mind you, I'm 20, well, about this time I'm like 19, 20. This is in 2009, 2010. So nobody had enough information. The doctors didn't have enough information. Now, I have no judgment. I know that they save lives, and a lot of them are amazing people, but one of the things that to me really frustrates me is like, if you don't have the answer, it's okay to not have the answer. You know, I don't want to be wrongly diagnosed like Jay. I didn't want to be undiagnosed or like underdiagnosed. I don't know what the thing would be called, but like I would just keep being told that I was just obese, and that I just had to lose weight, and that was the solution for everything. And obviously it wasn't, because I wasn't losing any weight. Like I was drinking water, I was taking water pills, I was taking maca roots. I even went to San Francisco with one of my dear friends, and we went to see these Japanese natural herb person that you know, he looked at my tongue and he looked at my eyes and like gave me a diagnosis and gave me some herbs for me to make teas at home. They were disgusting. I tried taking them. I took the maca roots, I took the maca root pills. I've like purchased so many things, I've done so many things, I've tried to lose weight so many ways, gone on so many diets, and like nothing was working for me. And it's been insane, because it's just kind of like been on an increment of weight. There's not a lot of control. There wasn't a lot of like things, and I would just get exhausted, which is perfectly normal, I think, for any human. Like, you know, you're fighting against water, you're fighting against like a wind that you can't overcome, and there's just no way for me to see the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel. Like there was nothing. So I left that guy for all the pressure. I decided to love myself first, and you know, figure out what the hell was going on, but without the pressure of having to have a baby. I hate going on the holidays and meeting up with my family and being asked, when are you gonna have a baby? I was with another partner, and like, not the same story, but like same idea. He didn't really demand for me to have a kid, but at this time I was just kind of like, whatever, it's gonna happen. If it's gonna happen, if it doesn't happen, I don't care. I wasn't taking care of myself anymore. I wasn't watching what I was eating. I wasn't being careful or cautious about working out all the time. I was just working, and I was exhausted, and I was eating, and I was exhausted, and I was just always sleeping, and I was just always tired, and there was just nothing that would help.
then I broke up with that guy too, and I decided to move on. And then like I was like a running family joke of like, you need to switch guns, referring to the men that I was seeing, and like maybe this other person could be more fertile and like can get you pregnant and stuff. And that was a running joke in my family, and they don't realize ever really like how comments and things that people say can hurt. Like they don't understand what they do when they pressure you to like, when are you gonna have a kid? And like that's why I'm always praising like um it's okay if you don't want to have a kid. It's okay that it's not your time yet. It's okay that you decide when it is that you want to have a kid and when you're ready. And if you're not ready now, if you're never going to be ready, if you're never going to want to have kids, like, then kudos, and I had to start like building up these walls and these boundaries in my life and in my ears and myself, that like I had to stop feeling so overwhelmed about people asking me when was I gonna have my kids and when was I gonna start my family and stuff. I wasn't sure that I was gonna talk about this, but my brother's younger than me, and when him and his wife got pregnant for the very first time, it was a difficult time because he didn't tell me directly. He felt like he couldn't come and tell me because I had broken up with my boyfriend, who had been trying to have a kid for like 6 years and stuff, and like 4 or 5, whatever. And I hadn't been successful, and then here he goes. He's way younger than me, and they're expecting to be parents soon, and I feel horrible that he felt like he couldn't come to me and tell me his great news, but at the same time, he doesn't know this. When my mom did tell me, it was a little bit overwhelming. Again, because of the pressure of like the family expecting the older sibling to be the one to have the kids first, and like the pressure, all of the pressure that like I went through with this guy who was pressuring me to have a kid, but then he wasn't there for me when I needed treatment, when I was like going to see the doctor and trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And he was always blaming me for it, and it was always like really hard to deal with, and trying to get by with depression and feeling like I was dealing with it on my own and stuff. And so I felt really horrible that I couldn't share this happy news with my sibling, thinking that he didn't think he could come to me and tell me about it because of how I was going to react, or because of how that was going to make me feel. And now I wish that I had the maturity that I have now, and the understanding of my body and everything that I went through, to know that it wasn't my fault. It wasn't something that I was doing to myself, and that, who cares if my brother had a baby before me? I wanted to celebrate with him, but I feel horrible that he felt that he couldn't come to me about it directly, but it was a thing. It was a thing where like my younger cousins that were having kids and I wasn't. It was just kind of like I would beat myself up so much about it. It was always like I would self-sabotage. I would like hurt myself with really painful words as to like, I was depressed about having to leave college. So it was like I couldn't go to school and couldn't do what I wanted to do and like have my big dream, and now I couldn't even have a baby, which is like the most common thing that like women are supposed to do, like the easiest thing that you're supposed to be able to do, and I couldn't do that. And I had so much pressure to do this one thing that I couldn't do. And I had all these doctors telling me that it was my fault and that it was because I was obese. And I was like, I don't even eat. I went through a whole, like, eating once a day and, like, not eating crap, not eating everything I wanted, and starving myself, and, like, taking all these things that I was told to take and do, and nothing was working, you know. And so I'm really upset about, like, just automatically being seen as this big person, and that's the reason that's causing all of my problems, you know. I wasn't actually being studied, and I wasn't actually taking the proper test to find out, or, like, I wasn't being heard when I would tell them my symptoms. And when I would tell them I stopped taking birth control pills, because after I took them for 1 year, I didn't feel good. I would get dizzy, I would get migraines, they would change my mood, they would upset me, they would make me gain weight, they would make me have acne. And all the fucking doctors would always be like, oh, you just read the side effects. And I'm like, no, listen, like, this is a real thing. Like, this is what I'm watching my body. I'm taking mental notes and taking actual notes of, like, how my body is reacting, why my body is doing all these things, what am I taking in it, and, like, what am I feeding my body and stuff. And I was just not heard, and that I'm really mad about that, about the fact that I wasn't being heard. And so, you know, if you don't have the answers, it's okay, but just don't tell me that it's my fault. Don't tell me that, and just automatically, like, come into my room and just look at me and just judge me and say that, you know, I'm gonna prescribe you birth control because you just need to lose weight and you need to control your hormones, and that's a solution. And it didn't work. You know, my body didn't like that. And so I decided, like we were talking with Jay, I decided to do my own investigations. I would keep going on forums and keep talking and listening to other women, and, like, finding out what was working out for them, and looking up other medicines and stuff. It took a long time. I did keep gaining weight. I think right now I'm at well, like a month ago. I haven't weighed myself right now because I started my new job and I'm excited about it because I also get to work out. But at 2021, I'm at my biggest ever in my life. I don't think that in my adult life I've ever been a size 8, and I want to do that. That's one of my goals. Like, I want to be able to say that at my adult life I was able to fit in something that I liked out of the store, and I didn't have to go into the plus size. You know, I'm always telling you guys that I promote, like, self-love and, like, the beauty, and I'm beautiful. I still think I'm beautiful. I still love myself, but I am at my biggest because I haven't had enough help to be guided into what is the best thing for me, into what works for me, and like stop being blamed for it. You know, I'm juicing. Now I've met a beautiful person who's helping me with some oils that I'll get to talk about eventually, once I can actually tell you my results and stuff. But I'm, like, working towards it. I started after, well, I can talk about another incident that happened to me recently in the last year and a half, about birth control, because I have a protest against birth control. But I'm not saying don't get birth control. I think that's how it sounded on my last video. I apologize. I'm not saying don't have birth control. My thing against the promotion on Instagram about birth control is that they're selling it to the girls or to the women as, like, you don't have to deal with periods. But you don't understand. I just went through the whole pandemic without a period, after putting and removing an IUD with hormones, thinking that it was going to be easier for me to have it and for me to be, like, have that I'm so forgetful. So I just felt like if I had the thing, it would work itself out and I wouldn't have to deal with it. But then I started feeling sick because I had hormones. I started feeling dizzy all the time. I started feeling like I was having anxiety. Um, this was pre-pandemic, by the way. So when I finally got it removed, the doctors were upset with me as to like, oh, you know that's expensive and you won't be able to get it again for another time or something. And I was like, well, I don't want it, and it's hurting my body. Well, you probably just read the side effects, and that's why you think you got it. And I'm like, no, like I didn't have con- continuous nausea and dizziness and all this stuff before it, and now that I have it, all of this is happening to me. My body's reacting different to the hormones coming from my thing, and like I haven't stopped bleeding, and they're like, oh, it's normal. It shouldn't be normal. If the normal should be that I have a period for 7 days or less, how are you gonna tell me that I'm having 2 months of bleeding after I inserted this thing into my body normal? The bleeding wouldn't stop, and they weren't giving me anything, and I would be pale. Like even growing up before, when I would have like those possible miscarriages, I would be pale, like white, and I'm brown, I'm Mexican, and I would look white, I would look yellow. My mom would be worried about me and stuff, and that's when she would feed me the beets and the lentils and all that crap. But it was just kind of like, um you know, I know my body. I listen to my body. I look at my body. I take notice into my body. One of the things that I've always been trying to do when I was trying to conceive is like um uh just recognizing the discharge, recognizing the symptoms, like my breast hurting, my back hurting, and like feeling like my period is coming, or things like that. And so I'm always being very not noticing like all the time about like what my body changes are going through and stuff, and like why, like what did I change, what's different, what's new. um anyway, but so now fast forward to today, or to like 2 years ago, when I got the IUD removed and all this stuff. I had found in all these forums that they were talking about Provera and how that is. So backtrack. I was deficient of apparently I have like an excess of estrogen and a deficiency of progesterone. That's kind of the imbalance, or at least like that's what my research told me. And that's kind of what happened. So I would lose my hair like a lot, like insane. I had a lot of acne for some time. I I don't actually have like facial hair here, but I do have a stash that just grows. And it may seem normal for Mexican girls, or whatever, but sometimes it could feel excessive, and that's why I always do threading. Like Jay said, I have a little bit of chest hair too. That makes me feel awkward. At some point, I had some in my areolas. Um, um, my leg hair grows way thicker than like my mom's hair ever grew, and like, you know, she would always be mad at me as a teenager because she'd be like, "Why are you shaving? You're like 13." And I'm like, "You don't understand. Like, I feel like a dude." Like I look like a dude. On my armpit hair, I feel like it grows excessively compared to my mother's. Like she doesn't really have to shave like every other day or every day, and I do. I feel like I'm always like, I can't lift my hands. Like, what are the symptoms? Oh, the not being able to sleep at night. I would like, she'd always be like, "It's because you're on your phone." And no, I'd sit there and be like, "Can I go to sleep now?" Like really trying to fall asleep. I ended up finding ocean sounds or rain sounds help me, so I would play that while I was trying to sleep. Now I play meditation music, or relaxation music, and that helps me go to sleep. Now I meditate, like I said, but that's also because I'm practicing Reiki and learning about it. But it has helped me a lot. What else? I am also lactose intolerant, so I just try to avoid a lot of things that have anything with milk and stuff. And I follow a lot of these beautiful, amazing pages from these normal women, or maybe educated women as well, dietitians and stuff on Instagram, that have like amazing support about symptoms and about what you can do about them, and like the damages that some of the things cause, and like being gluten free, and like lactose free and stuff. And I just do it. I don't necessarily apply everything, because like I said, what helps me might not help you. What helps Jay may not help me. But you kind of have to listen to your body, figure out what it is that your body needs, and like what it is that it's deficient of, and kind of go from there. I mentioned before that I take prenatal pills, the vitamins. They're just very complete. Like they have a lot of the omegas, and like the B12s and stuff like that that you need. But if you want to take specifics, like there's also the hair nails and something else, but that's what they're called, hair nails and something else. And they're so complete. Like they help you with a lot of the deficiencies that you may have. Provera has been interesting. At first I was very loyal and I was very faithful to it, because it helped me stop the bleeding when I was bleeding for like, I think 3 months. I could not stop bleeding for 3 months. And I'm not saying like I was like, every time it was like I'm gonna die, but I was on it all the time. And so it would be like maybe 2 weeks in between, not necessarily like 2 weeks consecutive, but in between, where I wouldn't be bleeding as heavy, but it would be like 1 week heavy bleeding, 1 week not, 1 week heavy bleeding, 1 week not, where like I even had to take time off of work, where I was just like in bed. And if I would get up and like move, like my pad, my tampon, my underwear, my shorts, my pajama, my bed would be stained. And I was just like, I would rush to the doctor, to the ER, and then I would get there and then just be like, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just bleeding. Yeah, for like 3 months. Yeah, for like a month, or like heavy. At some point, I think it was 2017, with my ex-fiance, I think we were like 90% sure that I had a miscarriage, and obviously I was devastated. But when I got to the hospital, they did a pregnancy test, and they said that I didn't have enough HCG or whatever to say that I was pregnant, to confirm that I was pregnant. But the discharge of it, the clot was just like, it looked like it was a sac or something. I didn't see it, because that happened when I was at home. But and so they just couldn't give me a straight answer, and they were just kind of like, yeah, you weren't pregnant. And I didn't even get an IV inserted, injected or whatever. I was just like in the ER bed, and then they just discharged me and told me to go home and to deal with it. And I did. Nothing really helped. I just kept drinking my beet juice. I kept drinking water. I kept taking vitamins. And that's another thing. They saw that I was anemic, so they weren't just like, "Oh, you're fine. You should be fine. You could just go home and deal with it." I had to buy so many pants from being at work, and like having to carry an extra pair of pants and clothes, just in case that like I got stained, because of how heavy it would get sometimes. I'm hardworking, so I was always like lifting stuff and like doing my job, and sure enough, it would be like from like light bleeding to like heavy bleeding in the middle of the week, and then having to get new clothes and put it on and like keep doing what I had to do. So I've had a really big struggle with it. I can talk about it for days, but I just don't want you guys, especially younger girls, to deal with it and to get blamed for it, or to go through what I went through with like blaming myself for it, thinking that it was my fault, that it was me overweight. And yes, I was overweight, but like it wasn't like I wasn't even doing the right workouts. You know, I was overdoing cardio and like neglecting weights and stuff. And like in the last 2 years, I found that when I was doing Zumba and I was doing like weights and doing a lot of core exercises, it was that I was actually seeing results and I was seeing progress, and I was noticing that I was starting to feel different and to, like Jay said, have more energy. One of the most important things to me was like, oftentimes it doesn't necessarily turn into weight loss, it just turns into like size loss. And so I was shrinking, my clothes was fitting better, I was feeling better, I felt like I looked better, um and all this stuff. And so it's crazy how much, like, you know, the right workout and the right foods could like send you to a decrease of like um just like your weight and your figure and stuff. And now I just like work on loving myself, taking care of myself. I 2019 was tough, breaking off the engagement and having to come to the conclusion that I may never have children after being 15 and dreaming about having kids and having a husband was just like a really harsh truth to come to and realization to come to. But I did. I'm not saying I don't want to have children now, and I sometimes I share posts like that. I just want to be respected. I want there to be a boundary that if I don't want to talk about me having kids, don't ask me. And if I do have kids, then, you know, celebrate with me or not. But I'm tired of being asked, when am I gonna have kids? I may never have kids, and I've come to that acceptance. I will more than definitely be happy to adopt. That's always been one of my dreams. But if I don't have a partner, and I don't have the stability where I would be able to adopt, then I would be okay with not having kids. And now I've come to accepting that. I think I'm growing, and I think I'm accepting that it may never happen for me. And I'm okay with that now. It took a lot to get here. And there are days where I can't think about it. But for the most part, and on the greatest of days, I'm okay with it now. And there's a lot of friends that I have out there who have an official diagnosis that they can never have children. And so I haven't gotten that, so it doesn't mean that I've completely lost hope. But I also my relationships have been affected by that. So now I'm kind of in this thing where if my partner can't understand or accept that I may need to adopt if he wants to have kids, or if he wants to have kids of his own, then I'm not the person for him. That's kind of what I've had to come to accept. You know, that I may really like somebody, but if they want children of their own and they're not willing to adopt, then that's okay. You know, I'm always posting on Instagram that I'm gonna die forever alone, but I know that's not a fact. You know, but I'm just growing. I'm doing me. I'm dealing with my stuff and just trying to get in a better diet that like I'm always talking. I don't want to use the word diet as in like restriction. I want to say diet as in like the type of lifestyle that I want to have when it comes to my food. I can't really do the keto. I can't really do the keto. I can't really do a lot of things, but I am going, especially with like dealing with my mom and her having diabetes and all this stuff. That's one of the reasons why I don't understand why I'm so big and like my body reacts the way it does. It's like I already limit my sugar intake, and anything really that's like carrots. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm an alcoholic, and that's a running joke. But I like to drink. I like to drink beer. I like to drink alcohol, and I'm the party person. I don't necessarily need alcohol to get turned, but I'm always like the one girl who's always down to drink. But I've even stopped drinking. I've even not like sick completely, but like during quarantine I had to stop a lot, stop myself from doing that. I love breweries. I love that's like I'm a brewery connoisseur. And I've had to stop, because the hoppy all the wheats and the stuff that beer is made of like makes me sick. And my hazy IPAs and all the beautiful beers that I like, the hoppier and the more yeast they have, the worse it is for me. So I've had to stop drinking that, and if anything, now I stick to clear or semi-clear alcohols. But even then, I can't have whiskey, I can't have rum, and like it's torture. But I'm doing what is best for me. I'm not saying I'm never gonna drink. I'm just saying that, or that you're never gonna see me drink. But I'm just saying that I've limited my intake a lot to see a lot of those things. I've also started working out like very constantly since December, and after a year and a month of not having my period, I've had a successful period in the last month. And so I'm really excited and looking forward to like staying active now that I have a new job that gives me a free membership to work out. Staying active just at work, it consists of me walking around and doing a lot. And so like that's kind of helping me. I hope you guys see my progress and my changes in my future videos. We got the amazing air fryer. This is not a commercial for all of these things, but I got this amazing air fryer that I'm always talking about at work and with anyone who listen. And so we're like, making a lot of stuff that's like that doesn't need grease, that doesn't need all this stuff. And I already cooked with oil, with virgin oils, and like what was the other one? Not the corn one, but the other ones, like all these like healthy ass fucking shits, and like I said, I can't have lactose. Like I've like my stuff is already limited. I don't even eat like red meats, like not really. I am more of a fish and chicken person. Like I could live with that. So I feel like most of the stuff that like fucks me over is like the times that I would eat because and not staying active long enough. So those, and like I said, I now I'm working with weights and stuff. Well, since December I would walk my dog and then come in to my house and like work out with weights and stuff, and I was able to see that I was feeling better, getting more energy, being a lot stronger, and just like staying active, and my videos are helping me a little, like, keep this consistency. Also have like a routine, like as much as I hate routines and repetitive patterns, it's helping me to continue to keep this like thing going. We'll see how long I can take it, because I'm telling you, I get tired if I don't see results, and then I just give up. In the middle of it. But I don't want you guys to give up, and I want you guys to be motivated by my story, and to just know that it's not your fault. That's really why I wanted to make this video and tell you guys all about them, the girls who have gone through it, and like me and my story. It's not your fault, and like Jay said, it could be that it's genetics. I wanted to talk about how I was really angrily blaming food for everything, which could still be reasons of the part of it, but I think she might be right, where it also might be genetic, like our parents eating it and then giving it to us. But one of the things that I always looked at was like plastic bottle water can fuck your pH, yeah, like mess your balance. We eat a lot of processed like hormones that are put in our food, like chicken and stuff, and like that gets passed on into our bodies, and we keep that, and all these really crazy things. Other symptoms that I know of other people, yes, like the facial hair, the weight gain, and mood swings, and the insomnia, acne, hair loss, I was told also, like, I get a lot of like the darkness on here and like on my arms and stuff like that. That's kind of another symptom, and then that also has to do with the insulin imbalance and stuff, that your body doesn't develop or doesn't know how like to process it and how it should naturally process it. It does push us to obesity and diabetes and high blood pressure, and so just be mindful of all that if you have symptoms, migraines, all these kinds of things that happen already. And don't blame yourself if you are trying to conceive if you can't. I know that a lot of the women in the forum were talking about taking Provera and metformin. A lot of people in these pages I follow are not talking about how metformin is not so great, it has a lot of side effects. Find that something to replace it with. Do a lot of research. Like I said, I'm gonna make an entire, hopefully I'm allowed because they're a company, but hopefully I'm able to do a video of like the oils that I'm working with and this amazing person who like is helping me out with it. And like, you know, I can tell you guys my story once I've used it long enough to tell you how it's reacted or affected my body. But these are all natural stuff that like can help you and things, and you can speak with them directly as to what your personal issues are, and they'll be able to help you with that. But just, yeah, you know, just all these amazing stuff. And I hope you guys like the video. I will smash it, squish it, and try to make it as little as I can. But it's just, if you or anyone you know is going through these symptoms, like just look up PCOS and look at the symptoms. Speak to your doctors and tell them that you think that this is what it is. I wasn't officially diagnosed till like 2 years ago, and I'm 30 years old now. So I was 28 years old when I was officially diagnosed, knowing that I had all these things that are going on, and like I was like 100% certain that that's exactly what I had by the forums and the women speaking about it and things like that. And I personally specifically asked if I could take Provera so that I could see how my body reacted to it. And honestly, for the most part, it was doing great. I was doing great. My hair wasn't falling anymore. I wasn't reacting to having acne anymore. I wasn't feeling dizzy all the time. I wasn't feeling weak. I wasn't going yellow. The problem of it though was that when I was after the IUD, I was prescribed to drink it every day. And I think that that's kind of the reason why I didn't have a period for the entire 2020, not to mention that I wasn't active, so being stuck at home. And kind of getting depressed for losing my job. But once I started to be physically active and I managed to take it for 10 days instead of all 30 days, now I'm only taking it 10 days and 20 days not. And I feel like that's kind of making my body react and wake up and like do its own thing. The only downfall is that I am seeing my hair loss again for not taking it the entire time. But like I said, I'm getting helped with the oil, so maybe that will change once I have a little bit more balance with it and stuff. But yes, I hope this is the reason why I wanted to make Shenanigans and More in the first place, to tell you guys like true testimonies of what women are going through and how like you can help your partner. If it's not you, it could be your partner who like goes through things, the whole emotional reaction. Sometimes it would just like be upset for no reason. I would cry for no reason, or I would hear that another cousin or another friend would be having a baby, and I would be in like a dead-end relationship or no relationship, no hope for me to have a baby since I didn't have a partner. Like I was really at the point where I was like, I'm just gonna have a one night stand and see if I could get knocked up, like honestly. And then I had to stop my tracks and like be like, listen, you know, your kid wouldn't deserve that, you know. So just kind of like grow up and see what happens and take care of yourself and mind yourself, evolve on yourself, love yourself, just take care of yourself, and then shit will fall, like, you know, shit will start to like fall into place. And like it is what it is, you know. I'm at a point where it's like I'm no longer going to stress about what I can't control, and I can't control my body. I can feed it what I think it's best. I can work on it and teach it that this is what's good for it, and then whatever happens. So awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys like it. I will have the information that we talked about on the description below, as far as Sabi's, I think she said, and any of the medication and the natural stuff that I use. Maybe it's not a commercial, it's not an infomercial, it's just, you know, in case you guys want to try and see if it helps you to replace chemical medication. Go with natural stuff, you know. But thank you so much. I hope you guys like it. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it, tell your friends, tell your wives, tell your sisters, mothers who are going through menopause and might have PCOS and have never known, and now are going through a lot of stuff. It affects in so many crazy ways, so just share it. Thank you guys. Have a good day. Bye.
Hi guys, this is Shannon. I was asked to share my personal experience and some stories about dealing with PCOS. So I have some notes here. I'm going to be looking down at some of them, but here we go. So with PCOS, I was 17 years old when I was told that I was insulin resistant. That's basically borderline diabetic, but all of my tests always came back that I was fine. I also was told that I had higher levels of testosterone. For those that don't know, testosterone is a hormone that men usually have, but also PCOS makes you develop high levels. Let me look here. They didn't think that that was a big issue because I was 17. They just thought that I was still maturing, still developing, and that it would cure on its own or it would correct itself. So then we are going to fast forward about 5 years. I was 22 years old. I had got injured at work, went to go get some treatment on my arm. They did some tests again, said that I was insulin resistant, and started me on medication called metformin, which is for people who are diabetic. They thought that that would correct it. Again, surprise, it didn't do anything. I was also still really high levels of testosterone. Just barely, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, my doctor shot this idea that I could possibly have PCOS. And my symptoms that I had went to her about was I had noticed that I have hair on my chin, I have a mustache, I call it acne. It's not really bad, but it's more pimples than what I'm used to. I do deal with really bad depression and anxiety. My weight has always been an issue my entire life, so I never really thought of that being linked to PCOS or any other kind of hormonal something. You know, I've just always been a big girl. She also thought that it could possibly be endometriosis, which is your issues with your tissue growing on your uterus, and they can mistake that for PCOS. Most of the time this happens when a woman is between the ages of 14 to 60 years old. As long as you're able to bear a child or get pregnant with a child, that is something that can happen. But when it comes to people questioning or always asking me about children, well, honestly, I would be lying if I said that I don't want to have a child. I don't want to be a mom. That's every woman's idea, because that's what we're told our entire life is we're born to have a child. But as well as if I have a family member or a friend that is announcing a pregnancy, of course I'm happy, of course I'm excited for them. But again, I would be lying if I didn't somewhere deep in me be kind of, why not me? But I have gotten to the point of my life to accept the fact that if I'm not supposed to have a child, that's okay. I'm not going to pressure myself. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to make myself feel less of a woman because that's not my plan. And I know for a fact that I have angel babies waiting for me that are not here because this world is just too crazy. It's too scary. So I would never go through the process of IVF because that is what a lot of women do when they have PCOS. I just mentally, I couldn't put myself through that. When it comes to like accepting it or being okay with it, it's okay. My opinion for girls or women out there that are just figuring it out or finding out, just know that it doesn't make you less of a woman. It doesn't make you less of a mom or a tia or a Nina. You know, you could be an amazing person and not have a child. PCOS doesn't make you a less of a person. You just have to figure it out. There are a lot of medications. There are a lot of treatments. The biggest part for me is I just want to be mentally healthy. My weight, like I said, has always been a problem. But the mental part, I just want mentally to be okay. So you girls out there, it's okay. You'll be fine. It might not feel like you're going to be fine, but you will be okay.